Let's get right into it. There are stories in this world that don't end, mysteries that don't fade, events so deeply disturbing that even the most rational minds struggle to explain them. These aren't ghost stories or internet legends. These are real, documented, scientifically studied moments where reality itself seems to bend. And once you hear them, once you let them settle into your mind, you may never look at the world the same way again. Tonight, we're exploring 5 of the most unsettling mysteries humanity has ever encountered. And when we're done, you might find yourself lying awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering how much we truly understand about the world around us. We begin with a disappearance so impossible that the experts still debate it over a decade later. The flight that vanished into thin air, MH370. It was a calm night over the South China Sea when Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 lifted into the sky, carrying 239 passengers and a crew. The flight path was routine. The aircraft was a Boeing 777, one of the safest commercial jets ever built. The weather was perfect. Everything pointed toward an ordinary journey. At approximately 1:19 a.m., the pilot radioed a short, calm message. "Good night, Malaysia 370. Those would be the last confirmed words anyone on Earth would ever hear from the plane. Minutes later, the aircraft's transponder stopped transmitting. It wasn't damaged. It wasn't malfunctioning. It was turned off manually. What followed defied all logic. Instead of continuing toward Beijing, the plane veered sharply off course, crossed back over Malaysia, and began flying toward the most remote stretch of ocean on the planet. Military radar tracked it. Satellite pings confirmed it. For nearly 7 more hours, the plane continued flying, silently, deliberately, into a region where nothing could follow. Then it vanished. No debris field, no distress call, no signals from emergency beacons. It was as if the plane had slipped out of reality. Search teams scoured more than 120,000 square kilometers of ocean. Years passed, and only a handful of small fragments washed ashore, nothing that revealed the truth. The theories became wilder with each passing year. A cockpit emergency, a hijacking, pilot suicide, a slow decompression that incapacitated everyone on board. None of the explanations fully fit the evidence. And here's the detail that haunts investigators the most. For hours after the disappearance, several passengers' phones continued to ring when called. They did not go straight to voicemail. Something, somewhere, was still receiving the signal. It is a detail that refuses to fit neatly into any official narrative. Flight MH370 remains one of the greatest aviation mysteries of all time, a riddle left drifting on the edge of human understanding, and it forces us to confront a terrifying truth. Even in the age of satellites and global tracking, something as large as a commercial airliner can still vanish without a trace. The deep time horror. Humanity may not be the first civilization. Now let's go back. Not decades, not centuries, not even thousands of years. Imagine peeling back time in layers, like sediment on a canyon wall, traveling not just before recorded history, but before humans existed at all. And imagine discovering that the Earth may have held civilizations long before our own. This idea sounds impossible at first. Yet several discoveries force archaeologists and scientists to ask uncomfortable questions. Göbekli Tepe in southeastern Turkey is one of them. It is a massive stone temple complex built 12,000 years ago, 6,000 years before the pyramids, and thousands of years before humans were supposed to have agriculture, writing, or urban organization. The site contains towering stone pillars arranged in perfect circles, carved with animals and symbols. It should not exist, and yet it does. Stranger still, the entire structure was intentionally buried by the people who built it, as if they wanted to hide it, preserve it, or protect someone from finding it too soon. Then there are the pyramids of Egypt. Their alignment to true north is more precise than modern constructions. Their dimensions encode mathematical constants. Their engineering outperforms the pyramids built centuries later. The deeper researchers look, the older the knowledge embedded in their design appears to be. Some archaeologists believe this suggests the Egyptians inherited techniques from an earlier culture, one whose traces are now lost. And scattered around the world, the anomalies continue. Under the sea off Japan, the Yonaguni Monument rises like the remains of a sunken city. In Peru, Sacsayhuaman's giant stone blocks fit together with such precision that not even a razor blade can slide between them. In South Africa, metal spheres billions of years old display grooves that appear machined. On multiple continents, ash layers resemble industrial pollution but date back millions of years. Most scientists argue these are coincidences or natural formations, but the question persists. Because Earth destroys its own history, continents shift, oceans rise, mountains crumble, anything older than a few million years is recycled by the planet itself. And a civilization rose long before humans. Would we even be able to detect it? Or would we find only fragments, out of place, out of time, and impossible to explain? And if something did come before us, the next question is even more disturbing. What happened to them? The Max Headroom broadcast takeover, a hack that should have been impossible. Now let's jump from deep time to the near past. Chicago, 1987. Families were watching the evening news when the screen suddenly glitched. The image warped into static, then shifted into something completely surreal. A man wearing a rubber Max Headroom mask appeared on screen, his body jerking unnaturally as though he were being pulled by invisible strings. His voice was distorted, warbling in and out, speaking phrases that made no sense. References, threats, strange jokes, and eerie laughter. It only lasted a few seconds, then vanished. Engineers scrambled to diagnose the issue. They could not. Then it happened again, in the middle of a late-night broadcast of Doctor Who. This time, the figure stayed longer, speaking in distorted nonsense before the signal finally returned to normal. No one has ever identified the culprit. No device has ever been recovered. No group has ever claimed responsibility. And the hack itself still puzzles experts. To interrupt an active broadcast in 1987 required sophisticated equipment, precise timing, and physical access to restricted transmission towers. It was considered technically impossible for a lone individual, yet someone did it. And the moment it ended, the intruder disappeared from history, leaving behind a single question: how did they do it, and more importantly, why? The Lost Cosmonauts, the voices Soviet Russia denies. During the Cold War, the race to space was brutal. The Soviet Union wanted to be first into orbit, first around the Earth, first on the Moon. But according to some recordings, they may also have been the first to lose astronauts in space, long before Yuri Gagarin made his famous flight. 2 Italian radio operators began picking up strange transmissions in the late 1950s and early 1960s. The recordings captured a heartbeat monitor accelerating out of control, a panicked voice gasping for air, a calm female voice that slowly devolved into terror as she described seeing flames inside her capsule. One recording seemed to document a capsule drifting helplessly into deep space. Another captured a voice begging for help in Russian, then suddenly falling silent. The Soviet Union denied all of it. They insisted no such missions ever existed. They maintained that no cosmonauts were lost before Gagarin. But the dates of the transmissions matched known but undocumented launch attempts. And when the Soviet Union archives finally opened decades later, records revealed numerous failed rocket tests, unexplained explosions, and missing personnel whose files were quietly erased. Were these voices real? Were they early pioneers who died alone in the dark, their final breaths carried across space? Or were they part of an elaborate hoax that has never been replicated or explained? The truth remains locked behind decades of secrecy. The most unsettling discoveries about death. Our final mystery is one that every human being must eventually face. For centuries, death seemed simple. The heart stops, the brain shuts down, the person is gone. But modern science has revealed something far stranger. When the heart stops beating, the brain does not immediately fade. Instead, it becomes more active. Surges of electrical energy sweep across the cortex. These waves are so intense that some scientists compare them to the brain's activity during consciousness, even heightened awareness. People brought back from clinical death described vivid experiences, conversations they should have never heard, memories they had forgotten, places they insisted they visited. But the deeper mystery lies in the body itself. In the hours after death, certain genes begin to turn on. Some activate within minutes. Others become active up to 24 hours later. They are not random genes either. Some relate to stress responses. Some are linked to embryonic development. A few are connected to aggressive cell growth, including cancers. These genes never activate during life, only after death. Scientists have no explanation for why this happens or what purpose it serves. It is as if the body continues a strange afterlife of its own, carrying out tasks no one fully understands. Death, it turns out, is not a moment. It is a process, and part of that process remains hidden from us.